Hey, how's it going, folks? My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT, and today we're going to have a look at the all-new Digitone II from Elektron, which I was really excited about, and am really trying to wrap my head around all the new features right now because they've added so much to the Digitone. The Digitone is kind of old now. I mean, not an extremely old device, but the original Digitone's been around for a while. It came out shortly after Digitakt I, and for me, it was, it was just such an amazing instrument to pair with the Digitakt. I was so impressed with the FM synthesis plus the addition of a filter, which kind of takes it away from being just an FM synthesizer into becoming a multiple oscillator, complex oscillator synthesizer. Because in my mind, FM synthesis is really just complex waveforms, right? We're just generating these really harmonically rich waveforms from very simple waveforms. And in the Digitone's case, starting from more complex waveforms from the start point. Same with M8 Tracker. It's FM synth also lets you use sawtooth and square and different sorts of waveforms to be in your operators as opposed to sine waves. So I'm pretty stoked about the Digitone II. For the most part, since I've had it, and I've only had it for a day, and I only got to play with it for a moment because I've been just extremely busy over here. The first thing I dug into was the new synthesizer engines. I kind of skipped over the FM synth engine because it's identical to Digitone 1, so I'm not like, all right, let's check out Digitone 1 again. That's been done. The thing that's kind of new to Digitone 1 engine in here is that we have more envelopes. So we have more modulation concepts, or more modulation that we can do. And I'm actually saw a screen on here that kind of implies that maybe we'll be able to choose multiple destinations for our modulation at some point, maybe, because there's room for it. I'll just let me just show you what I'm talking about really quick, and I'll just continue on my monologue here. But if I go into my mod destination and I start moving this, we have this new window. This isn't even in Digitakt 1. This window doesn't look this way or Digitakt 2, I'm sorry. The window doesn't look this way in Digitakt 2 or in Syntakt. And this shows up mod 2 destination. It's got all this room down here, which I'm like, could sure fit a couple more mod destinations, if not just another mod destination, and that would be awesome. So that is something that I hope Elektron sees. Maybe they watch this stream, maybe they don't, I don't know. But if they do, please give us another mod destination. That would make these LFOs do double duty, and it would be absolutely insane, so we can get some really wild sounds from this. Otherwise, it's the same LFOs, but we have another one. We have 16 voices instead of 8. We have way more tracks, more than we need, and you're not going to use all the tracks. And I think that's something to think about right off the bat when you're getting the Digitone II. Here's a problem that I think a lot of people have with their hardware electronic music. Because we're in this DAWless universe. Let me jump out of here really quick. Because we're in this DAWless experience using Elektron boxes, right? If you're doing this, you're most likely doing this without your computer. And because of that experience, I think there's this need to use up every track that you have at your disposal, because on the computer you have this infinite amount of tracks and sounds that you can use, and so you're just kind of like scope creep. I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed with how the option paralysis on the computer, so you go to hardware. Then you get something like Digitone II. It's got 16 voices and 16 tracks, and you're like, you don't need to use them all. Just, I don't know, let that sink in, please, because you'll save yourself a whole lot of headache if you can, let that become a reality for you. Some of the tracks on here are best used to sequence external gear. So as far as the other Elektron boxes go, now the Digitone for me is now going to become my sequencer for my external boxes. Despite Elektron deciding to not let us have an arpeggiator again in the Digi boxes for our MIDI output. And I thought someone said, and I haven't seen this, maybe it was in Lupop's video, that you can actually take the Digitone II's arpeggiator and then like break it down, flatten it, so to speak, kind of like you would in Ableton, or bounce it in place, I guess. I don't know. Someone said that to me. I've yet to see it, so I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe someone can tell me in the chat and be like, yes, you do this, and we can check that out. Because if you could flatten the arpeggiator, then you could actually just take those trigger notes and then switch it out for a MIDI machine. And that would make the Digitone II act as an arpeggiator, so to speak, kind of a pseudo arpeggiator at that point for your external synthesizers. So I still have external synthesizers over here. I still have my Delia over here, Melbourne Instruments Delia. And this isn't going to come off the table because I added this, because frankly, they just don't make the same sounds. And that was the first thing I wanted to test when I got into the Digitone. And I know we haven't heard anything from here in a couple minutes. We've already started the stream. I've made 2 patches so far, and that's kind of how I get familiar with devices. I just go right into making a patch from scratch. So this is my very first patch. It's using the analog engine, or the analog, what are we calling it? WAVETONE. Using the WAVETONE engine. So what I've done with this patch is I'm playing with a lot of the new features. So I'm only using this one oscillator up top. This bottom one, I actually have the level of the oscillator turned all the way down so we can't hear it. But in this next page over, I have oscillator 1 set to the wavetable. And then on the second one, and I also have sync engaged. So we have oscillator sync going on with the wavetable, which is partly why I have this second oscillator turned off in terms of its actual volume, but its sync modulation to oscillator 1 is still happening. And then I'm modulating that because I have a bunch of LFOs going. We have a hold LFO on a square wave, which is making it so that each time I enter some notes in, the voices are spread randomly, kind of like pseudo stereo spread that you would have on a lot of other flagship synthesizers. I've just built it with an LFO. And it totally works. It's made the patch really huge. We have no chorus. I'm also using UNISON. So I have UNISON set to 2, and I have a very mild spread. Actually, I'm sorry, the UNISON was on the other patch I'm going to show you. We don't want to do the UNISON here. I think it sounds better without the UNISON. So this is my first patch. What's going on is also an LFO is modulating the filter cutoff, so it's giving us a first initial spike on the sound. And then the actual envelope is kicking into gear, which is this long envelope. And then we have some of the beautiful delay, which I've adjusted the delay slightly. This was my first patch. This is the first thing I made with it, and I was like, wow, this is lovely, right? Right out of the gate, using the new digital wavetone, using the WAVETONE synth engine, sounds identical to the FM engine, literally identical. It starts you off with a sine wave. And that threw me for a curveball at first. I was like, whoa, I got a brand new synth engine, but it sounds exactly like the FM synth. I was like, why? Why is that? I think it would have been good if it was, you know, by default set to a square wave or something, just to like throw people's ears off so they feel like it's at least something different than the FM engine. But I mean, it is what it is. It's easy to start getting things going. And the sine wave is the simplest waveform. So I guess from a classic or mathematical standpoint, it's the right place to start in terms of building a new sound. But for me, it threw me off because I was like, I want new sounds. But I did get new sounds. It's the same new sounds. They're new sounds, but they're the same sounds. They're sounds I've always had, but now I have them in the Digitone. And they're sounds the Digitone kind of already could make, but now I can make them easier in the Digitone. In fact, that's kind of like, besides the new wave drum, it's my hot take on Digitone II. The sounds Digitone II makes, for the most part, minus the wavetable and the FM drum and the swarm engine, are the same sounds you were already making with Digitone I. It's the same sounds, right? It's just the workflow to get you to a place where you wanted to make those like more classic analog driven sounds, such as like oscillator sync. That sound is different. We weren't able to do oscillator sync before. Such as like oscillator sync and ring modulation, those features, those are the things that make it sound different from Digitone I. Otherwise, it's very similar to Digitone I. Now, if you are a Digitone I enthusiast, if you're an absolute Digitone I lover, the Digitone II is going to be straight up meth-infused crack for you. This thing is just going to be amazing because the drum synth on here is really fun. Like, it's a great sounding drum synthesizer. And it's actually pretty easy to get going with, and it has just enough controls to let you feel like you are able to do some pretty advanced or complex patches on it. So the wave drum, totally, or whatever it's called, what do they call it? FM drum. The FM drum engine is great. I'm very pleased to have this. I do believe the Digitone 2 is a huge and substantial upgrade to the Digitone 1 and well worth your money. Like, very much so. I think that this is going to be a box that people have around for a very long time. I can't even imagine why I would need a Digitone 3. I think that they could just be done with Digitone 2 and update it for the next 5 years with new stuff, and we're good to go. Maybe some way to get new wavetables in here, because the wavetables are... this is... My biggest gripe so far with it is the wavetables, is that they're weak. The wavetables are weak sauce. I don't know what wavetables they put in there, but they're not anything to write home about. I'm glad they're there, and I am using them just because I love wavetable synthesis, but I'm like, they should have had like vowel wavetables in there and all sorts of like really interesting, harmonically rich wavetables that are just gritty and grimy and stuff. And I haven't found them yet. Maybe I'm just, because I'm so new. I am really new to the Digitone 2, but I looked and I was having a hard time finding it. And I've talked to some other Digitone users and they also feel the same way. That being said, I still think the Digitone 2 is off the chain. I absolutely love it. So my favorite things about Digitone 2, let's get into what I think is so cool about the Digitone 2. The most obvious awesome thing about Digitone 2 is 16 voices, right? Besides having the new engines, we have already established that. If it didn't have new engines, who even cares, right? But I don't know, like buying a Digitone 2, if it just had more voices, would be like, so what? But we have new engines which make crafting those voices into something new way more interesting than Digitone 1. Digitone 1 is out there. You want to get a Digitone 1? They're cheap now, $400 used. Yeah, go snag one up. Buy a couple of them. You can make yourself a Digitone 2. But the thing that I really was excited about when I saw the Digitone 2, when I was watching some tutorial videos, because Elektron didn't send me one, shame on Elektron, was the way you enter notes. So this is the thing that I think is really cool, and this is what made me change over Digitone from Digitakt II, because this was initially my favorite thing to sequence external gear with, was my Digitakt, and I've switched it over to the Digitone 2 now, and that's because, for one, I have way more tracks than I'm ever going to use on my Digitone 2, considering that I'm probably never not going to use it with a Digitakt 2. They have identical feature sets now, so anything I can do here in terms of workflow, I can do here, which makes me not give a crap about my Syntakt very much. Although we're gonna come back to that point about the Syntakt and Digitone 2, but and of like Elektron doing this release and Syntakt 1.3, and then bam, this comes out and it's like, hey, forget that Syntakt 1.3 came out. Nobody gives a shit about that now. Let's just talk about Digitone 2. Forget about your Syntaks, put them on the shelf. Like, I don't know. From a commercial standpoint, I was like, that was a little bit kooky, but whatever. But the thing I was so excited about is this note input. I love this. This is so sick. This is so much more intuitive. And you know what? I didn't even read the manual yet, and I guessed. I just guessed that some things would work the way I hope they work because I'm an Elektron freak. Like, I just love Elektron stuff. I own all the Elektron stuff that's in their current lineup. And what I guessed was, would I be able to audition a chord in this layout? And the answer is yes. Function. Yes. Ah, the glory of programming chords on the Digitone 2. It's unbeatable. This is now unbeatable. I don't have to leave my chord programming menu to program chords, and I love it so much. I'm so stoked about this. I didn't even know if anyone mentioned that you could audition it like that, but oh my god, that is so sick. And check this out. While you hold it down, select a new place to put in a chord. And now I'm going to program a chord here, or a chord here, or a chord. You know what I mean? And then not only that, but just selecting a note, and then being able to move it around with the encoder and just audition while you're doing this. I've never been able to enter a chord faster. And because I'm able to jump from chord to chord like this and go over here and audition, like if I copy here, paste it here, and maybe we just change this one a little bit. Let's see, let's go. Oh, some of these notes got cooked. Let's just clear that out. Let's copy this one again. Okay, I can jump here. Do these chords go well together? They do, right? That was such a pain in the ass to do on the Digitone 1. Like, that workflow sucked. But I was still grateful just to even be able to audition chords on the Digitone 2 by holding the step and pressing yes. I was still just like, thank God for that. I think Ivar Treaty is the one who led the the riots to Elektron to get, you know, holding a trigger down and hitting yes. Like, thank you for that one. I've been thanking him for years for that. Made that demo video. It was so cool. But now that I can just audition it this way, the workflow is awesome. And you know what? I'm excited to kind of make music back in the electro vibe, because the Digitone is this awesome electro device. You know, like now we have all these tracks, we have all these different sounds. We can go ham. It's got a Euclidean sequencer, which is cool to have. I might not use it very much in my workflow with the Digitone, but I'd use it on my drums a little bit more because I think I don't know, but I'm grateful that it's there. So that's my favorite feature besides more voices and synth engines. This is amazing. Really, some other really cool stuff is, of course, we have the page loop and the page loop. So now, if you're a Digitakt II user, how could you ever use anything that doesn't have page loop if you're trying to write songs? Why would you? It would be such a pain in the ass. It's such a good feature. And in fact, so now we can hold down a page, right? We all know how page loop works, I hope, at this point. Jump through the pages that we're on, or select a page, go over to it. I like to just do this, use the 2-finger thing, and just like select a page, leave a page, select a page. And this will let you loop that page and go to that page if you do them at the same time, right? It's an easy workflow. And it just loops there, and I can go over here and do the same thing. I can loop it here on the same page and loop it here on the same page, and they will play some interstitial moment in the middle of my track that I wanted to work on, where I was like, man, I don't want to wait for it to get to bar 5, step, 13 or whatever to like hear that one note. Does it go well with the previous bar? I don't have to wait anymore. I just jump to it. And as soon as this page looping feature came out and I had the Syntakt sitting here with my Digitakt, and Digitakt had page loop, I was like, Syntakt, it's just like, get out of here, because it just couldn't keep up with my Digitakt II anymore. And I was like annoyed by it. Then they update the Syntakt, give it page loop. However, they don't update or integrate multi-pages. They didn't add more pages. There was a way, I'm sure, for us to denote that we're on page 5, 6, 7, and 8 with a 4 LED setup. People have been doing it in the Eurorack world for a long time, making LEDs do all sorts of cool stuff. In my opinion, that was a miss, and I've said that before, and I will say it again. Give us the 8 pages syntax. People are going to be frustrated they can't do what these devices do, because these feel like a leap ahead of the Syntakt, despite the Syntakt being a completely different machine. So quickly, let me talk about this whole thing with the Syntakt and the Digitone. So I plug in my Digitone II last night. I'm so excited about it. I'm just like beyond stoked to have Digitone II. One of my favorite devices of all time. And part of the reason I also took it off the table is my Digitone 1 broke. So it was like, I used it so much. I played so many shows with it. It was my, it was just a workhorse for me, big time. Subtractive FM, awesome stuff. So I plug in my Digitone II and I listen to some of the sounds on it. The demo tracks on it are top-notch for sure, as always. They're always amazing for the demo tracks on Elektron. A lot of people who release hardware devices, they don't get top-notch demo tracks. Elektron always hits it out of the park, where you're like, damn, I can really hear what this thing is capable of. So I listen to the demo tracks. I'm, of course, absolutely impressed. I'm like, dude, this thing sounds awesome. So then I go in to start making some patches myself, go into the virtual analog engine, and then I realize, wow, I'm not going to be able to make the same sounds that I made on my Syntakt in my Digitone II. And I don't think this was something like that Elektron was withholding from you. The synth engine Digitone II does not function in the same way. It's not analog. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. The analog synth engine in the Syntakt makes sounds this thing cannot make. They do not sound as full and thick and rich. They really don't. So like these make FM synth sounds, which is awesome, and I'm all for it. And they do virtual analog. decently. It still, to me, sounds like FM engine stuff. Doesn't sound as virtual analog as I kind of anticipated it to sound. Like, I've played on some virtual analog stuff that, like, was very convincingly virtual analog. And this, to me, still sounds like Digitone, which I'm fine with because I love the Digitone. The workflow on it's better now. Syntakt analog engines are off the chain. Like, they make sounds like no other groovebox does. There's no groovebox with the Syntakts, basically the Rhythms synth engines. They're weird. Like, they are gritty, they're industrial, they are extremely analog sounding. So now the question is, do we have at one point in time, I had Digitakt, Digitone II, Syntakt here. It was like, bam, this huge setup, Octatrack. It'd all be funneled into here. This stuff is out here. I'd also have like a 303 over here, my analog heat for my, pseudo compression and some saturation for the whole mix. And like, it was just like, man, it's a massive table of stuff. And I'm like a minimalist in lifestyle and in music production. I really prefer like less is less. I doubt that I'm going to take Digitone II off the table. I'm pretty sure this is a staple device now for me here. But do I also have the Syntakt join the table? I don't know. It's so much. The 3-box rule has always been a really hard and fast rule for me. I was like, 3 boxes is the max. That doesn't include this because this is an effects processor for me. In terms of music production, I was just like, 3 boxes is enough. And when that was the case, I had a Digitakt I with 8 tracks, truly. And we had a Digitone with 4 tracks. And then we had a Syntakt with 12. And I was like, okay, this is a lot of tracks. We got 24 tracks of potential audio. We don't need to use them all, which took a long time to shake off that feeling that we don't need to use them all. We just use, whatever we need to use. And now I have 16 tracks, and 12 tracks in the Syntakt. And I'm like, that is a massive amount of tracks. Like, this is basically an Elektron version of going into your DAW, because I don't think most people are making more than 30 or 40 tracks in a live setup. Like, that's just not something that they're typically doing, But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot to say on the matter. I hope I'm not clipping my audio. I have a lot to say. But I'm really pleased. I've started 2 new projects now. I have a new project on Digitakt. I got a new project on Digitone. And now I'm going to start a new set. I just started a new set, but now I'm going to start a new set incorporating Digitakt II and Digitone II together, because this is the new thing. This is going to be what I use to make music moving forward. Will the Syntakt show up here? I don't know. I'm going to try not to bring it up here, but I'll tell you what, I immediately missed those analog engines, because the analog engines they're bonkers, and I don't have anything analog happening here. However, we got a synthesizer that I can sample into a Digitakt. So, we got it covered. 4824 stereo sample rate, bit rate. It's going to do a great job of capturing the presence and essence of your analog synthesizers. So do I need an analog synth? No. Do I want one? Yes. Yes, I do. That's my hot take. So, like, I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if anybody ever came across the arpeggiator thing that I mentioned. Like, can we break the arpeggiator? Can we flatten the arpeggiator tracks down and use them as MIDI tracks? Because that would be super sick, I think. I don't know. I don't know if you can do it. I don't know. Let's put down a trigger and find out. Also, I'll show off my other patch. So I've only made 2 patches on here. And I keep thinking these are my tracks. Like, they kept the 4 little things, but they're not tracks. So that's a little extra confusion for you Digitone users. You're like, what? Wait a second. No, Digitakt style. So I have, this is that patch. This is patch 1. Let's go to track 7 and load up game bass. These are my EZBOT patches. Eventually I'll release these patches if you think they sound okay. I don't know. They're brand spanking new, so who knows. This is not from the FM synth engine. But it sure does sound like it is. This is the wavetable. Sounds cool. All right. Let's go to a new patch and like we're going to ignore the FM synth engine, like the classic Digitone I FM synth engine, because I guess I'm kind of assuming that everybody watching here already had a Digitone, but that's probably not fair to do. The FM synth engine sounds awesome. It sounds like sine waves at first, but it's a pretty simple engine to use. I mean, it's FM, so it's not very simple to use, but it's pretty simple in relative to most FM synthesizers. Let's put it that way. This is a simpler FM synth engine than your typical, than a DX7 or something like that, where it's an absolute nightmare to program. It takes forever. This is where you start bringing in the level of your operators. Here's where you can do all the really nitty-gritty, interesting stuff in this page. I'm sure it's kind of hard to see from this top-down perspective, but this is the work. Like, I wanted you to see the whole thing together, because that's what's going on here. We could zoom in on the Digitone. Let's see. Hang on a sec. Okay. Here you go. We're looking at Digitone. This new ratio offset down here, this is new to the FM synth engine. Key tracking for your ratio offset, that's kind of cool. That is new. Get the low pass of 4. Sick. The chorus to me sounds bigger than it did before, and we now have these different routings for things. Sounds good. And, of course, can't go without mentioning that we have a master compressor on a Digitone. That is a big deal. I think this is a big deal for the sound design. Compressing, because you can have the compressor compress, like post reverb, post delay, but just compressing your synthesizer voices in general, something that I found to be pretty important and really useful in terms of like in music production. I'm sure this is really common, but this is something you couldn't do DAWlessly very easily. DAWlessly, that is not a real term. This is something you couldn't do in a DAWless workflow very easily, was keep your bass line compressed, right? So as you're moving through on the keyboard and you're writing your bass notes, and maybe you're doing something that's really simple, you're just having like a big, huge bass that's like laying underneath your track. There's certain notes where the fundamental gets really loud and prominent, and there are other notes where it suddenly drops. And like that happens quite a bit when you're programming bass lines. If you have a compressor, that note that got dropped, the compressor can bring it up and level it out with the other bass notes. We now have that in the Digitone. So as a bass synthesizer, this is doing a really great job. And I often am just using sine waves or triangles as bass. Like, I love that sound. I love the sound of a acoustic bass. So I try and emulate it on my Digitone as well. And I think it sounds great. So having the compressor in here, pretty freaking sick. We give that a 10 out of 10. I have a setting right now on that I think I might change. So let's talk about it really quick. So there's a setting where when you have the keyboard active, and you're going to have the keyboard active like pretty much all the time on the Digitone II. So this might be a setting you want to change because I had it originally a different way. And that is when the keyboard's on, the arrow keys, they don't nav through the pages that you have on your different screens, your different synth parameter pages. You have to press down on these. And I really do prefer using this. But as soon as you leave this, it does work that way. So there's a personalized option in here to turn that off. Right here, keyboard up and down move nav. Okay, so now when I'm in here, this will nav through the pages. I think this is a better workflow. The only problem is that you can use the octave up, octave down. Why did I do that? Octave up, octave down. You can also hold this and go octave up, octave down. I guess they have a bunch of different ways you can do it. I wasn't even thinking. Why would I ever have done that in the first place? Anyway, that's great. Good workflow. Okay, we'll keep it this way. Loving the mod section. There's more choices in the mod section. You know, and they do have this kind of hidden. Where is it? Not hidden, but not in your face. On the other engine. Hang on. Let's go to the WAVETONE. So down here, past all the stuff, you have your master tune and master fine. And I was like searching for this on the Digitone. I was like trying to do just a, so I'll show you what, we'll make the patch again. So I like to start with one of the oscillators down. Just get just a sawtooth. We actually don't need to mess with any of this because we're just going to get a sawtooth. We could add some drift if we want to make it sound a little more analog. If you haven't noticed, drift and vintage mode or something that's coming to tons of synthesizers. I don't know. I guess the Prophet 5 like got everybody's attention. Like when that came out, they're like, vintage knob, sick. I have a Prophet 5 and I do like turning up the vintage knob. You turn it up too high and it really does sound not good, but it sounds good at a really like a mild amount. But this has that drift, so the oscillators are kind of, you know, got some noise added to them, I guess. So each time I trigger it, we're just like... It's not like a free LFO or something. But anyhow. Let's change this filter again. We got low pass 4 already. Let's make a... We have another page, we have some noise. I don't think there's a keyboard hold on here, which I really wish there was. That would be so sick to have keyboard hold. Not bad. Tycoon, you're welcome. Happy to have worked with you. We have 2 types of noise. Oh, 3. Tuned noise. This is an ambient powerhouse, by the way. Like, this thing is just, with how many tracks it has, and Euclidean sequencer, its scale modes, the virtual analog engine, plus the FM synth engine, and great reverb, delay, chorus, bit reduction. I mean, and 3 LFOs per track, and we have 16 tracks, and an LFO per step, essentially, because of the Elektron workflow. Like, this thing is insane. Like, the type of music that people will be making on the Digitone II, whether ambient to whatever, is gonna be some pretty next level shit for a groovebox. Like, straight up. Because there's just nothing out there that does what this thing does right now. It has, I don't even know how many parameter locks you can do. I think it's above 16, but it just has a bajillion parameter locks on here. So you can make like the IDM tracks that are gonna be coming off like from those IDM heads out there, and my hat's off to you folks who do that, because it's the coolest stuff to listen to or to watch on one of these boxes, because these lights are just going with these wild rhythms. Now we're gonna see that with the 16 tracks on here, like we did on the Digitakt, and I just think that's cool. I mean, this is some next level stuff, and I feel like this is the newest stuff from Elektron, and it feels extremely new. I actually do appreciate that they took the colors out of here. I think this is the look. You know, we got this weird off yellow, orange, beige, and then we got this nice cyan blue over here, and I dig it. I do dig it. I think it's great. I think that these are a powerhouse together. That being said, I can't get away from the sound of the digital. And one thing I do really miss that is, one thing I really wish that there was the natural stereo spread, not using the unison. The unison sounds really good. Let's just use the 2 voices. We don't need to steal so many. Because the unison does make it really big. We have so many voices that unison is going to be something that you don't need to worry about using. Like, use the unison. You have plenty of tracks. You have plenty of voices. Take advantage of unison. You want a big sound? Check this out. Look how big it is. Unison, unison off. Unison on. Sounds dope. I'm still trying to get this like analog sound, but let's pull in this other oscillator. And let's go over here and let's set this to hard sync. Oops, and go back over here. I just only want it to be slightly off. Oh! Get an LFO on the filter. Whoa. Filter. Oh. Look, it's got its own little spot for it. This is the virtual analog engine. This is what you should be excited about for Digitone II, because it's the type of sounds that were missing from Digitone I. Like, you had to have another device make this simple, more generic subtractive synth sounds we have now on Digitone. We did this patch in a couple seconds. Sounds pretty good. With the unison spread, it sounds very thick, sounds very wide. Can you add drive to this machine? You can. It has a drive. It is in the mod section. It's a master overdrive. Then we have this per patch overdrive. Yeah, the overdrive does sound very good. Awesome. 3 LFOs, extremely excited about that. All right, let's check out this wavetable, because once we started this virtual analog patch from scratch before we move on to some of the other stuff. And we breezed over the FM synth engine because I don't care. Because I already know how to use it, and there's about 100,000 demos on how to use the FM synth engine for the Digitone, because it is identical and backwards compatible with all your Digitone projects and patches. So sick, just like the Digitakt did. So really cool that we have that. I am also fully updated to the current firmware on here, so this shouldn't have any bugs during this stream. But let's switch over to a wavetable. Hard to hear the linear offset when this is set like this. Let's get some of these effects out of the way. Coming across some tasty treats in this little exploration. A bit more blurry. I don't think Easy is excited about this one. That's not true. I'm very excited about Digitone II. I think I had the day I got it, I wasn't having a particularly good day, so that definitely impacted my experience with it, and I think I'm really spoiled. So this was a conversation we were having in the Discord, and if you want to join the Discord, it's public, and there'll be a link in the comment section below, or check it out on the other videos. Come on in and chat with us. But I was discussing this with one of the patrons in my Discord, and we were talking about synthesis engines from the M8 tracker. And I kind of compare, like, if you're a digital machine making digital stuff in a groovebox, I'm comparing you to my favorite devices, and my favorite devices are Digitakt II. Now Digitone II is going to fall. It's going to jump into that category as I get more familiar and more, you know, adept at programming on the Digitone, because it's taken away for like almost a year and a half or so, almost 2 years it's been since I had Digitone on the table. And I'm glad it's back because I'm gonna use it. It's got all the new features. I just can't not have those features in my music production. It's gonna do me favors. We have kits, perform kit mode, which is so sick if you're doing techno and house production, and all sorts of. I mean, any genre is great with perform kit mode, but it's just a really cool feature to have in a synthesizer of this caliber with 16 voices and 16 voice multi-timbrality. But again, I'm comparing these synth engines to things like the M8 Tracker. Things like the Polyend Tracker, too. It's got great Polyend Tracker synthesizer in it, is amazing. I'm not going to lie. The Polyend synthesizers, the Tracker synths, they're so good. They're so freaking good sounding. The only problem with them is they're terrible to program. You know, they're just, it's not, I don't even want to be harsh on Polyend because I really like them as a company and I like the people there, but I don't think the programming workflow is like, they're not following suit with the other developers. The other developers are doing something I think that they should also do. But yeah, so I'm comparing it to those devices, these smaller devices around the same price point, and the sounds that I can get from the M8 Tracker's FM 4-operator synth voice, which is actually a more complex version than even the Digitone's 4-operator FM voice. However, 44/16 sample rate, and that actually is a big deal when it comes to everything audio related, but a big deal when it comes to synthesis. We have 48/24 in the synthesis here, so we actually have much higher fidelity sounds than you're going to find in something like the M8 Tracker. But in the Tracker, I have a great time with the wavetables. We're really spoiled with the Tracker's wavetables. They get so huge and gritty. I'm just like, whoa, they're enormous, right? And I haven't found that in here yet. There's just another way to get to those sounds. And I initially was immediately trying to compare it to this device because it has been my bread and butter for making like huge sounds, just like banger, gigantic sounds from the M8 Tracker. And the Digitone is just a different machine than that. You know, this is a more, I don't even know what I was about to say. It's just a different machine. And I am extremely excited about it. I think it's really cool. I'm just spoiled at this point, right? It's like I've had enough time in the electronic music, hardware music corner, and I've worked at the synth shop for years and teach private lessons doing this stuff. And, you know, I sometimes people send me stuff and I get kind of spoiled with the stuff that comes through the studio and like what I choose to use. And so I want it to just do everything that I want it to do. And that's just a human thing. I'm just being a person, you know, and people suck. So I suck. Don't mind me. Digitone 2 does not suck. Digitone 2 is super dope. I'm just new to Digitone 2. I don't know where all the cool sounds are like I do on my Tracker, like I used to, you know. Digitone 2 was always a supplementary device for me. It was mostly Digitakt stuff. I was very sample driven. As you know, I make these performance templates. A lot of them are very sample driven. Like I'm live resampling and messing with samples. And that's something that I really enjoy doing, is capturing my synthesizers. So the Digitone is, you know, it's new. It's new and it's fresh and it's totally sick. So I'm a fan. These sounds are awesome. They're going to be all over in my music. I love the FM sounds. What's great is that the FM sounds, like the really classic FM sounds, if we go into the preset pool instead of just like making these really basic patches from scratch. Sure. Man, these patches are way louder than mine. These are like, these... Wasn't this a grand piano patch? Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the other synthesis that's in here. We have comb filter synthesis. So we basically have a string synthesizer, and it is extremely convincing. I really like that. Those crackly sounds. What's going on there? Overdrive. Okay, that's. Noise is turned all the way up. Those crackly sounds, that's cool. This is very cool. That's cool. This is cool. I want to hear more stuff like this from the Digitone. We gotta have all the classic sounds too, of course, but there's just something so digital about it, which is great. It's called Digitone. And for everybody who's like, it's Digitone, that's because that's the way it's pronounced. I don't know. It's a digital tone. Digital tact. It's a digitone. Get out of here. Well, that's pretty nice. So these are all new sounds. I knew they were doing some weird note stuff. This is cool. This has got a really nice plucky sound. Maybe they used the drum engine for it? No, they did the analog engine. This is like the most analog sounding sound I've heard from this. It's because it's got that pluck. Maybe it's just from them putting the noise in an envelope. Got a really sharp pluck to it. It's really good. Yeah. I like it. I like that. That's a good patch. I don't know who made it, but I like it. Here's some nice hard sync. It sounds good. This is a sound you couldn't get from Digitone 1 because they didn't have hard sync as a modulation option. Let's see. Oh no, it's the Swarmer. It's kind of giving the same vibe, I guess. This engine, let me talk about this for a second. I am unhinged now. I am an Elektron fanboy, so to speak, you know, to the max and everything, but I am not going to withhold my opinions at all. I have, you know, ideas, and I do think sometimes the stuff that I think is better than what I see sometimes. Not directly related to Elektron, but just, you know, that's just what we do as humanity. You know, I am analyzing it, deciding, well, I wish it did this. This engine, I have no idea what this is doing here. I mean, I'm glad it's here, don't get me wrong, but I was like, what is it doing? It doesn't do any, it's just... There's nothing to do. But it sounds cool. It sounds cool, and it gives you those bat respaces and stuff like that, just like it did on the Syntakt. This is like just a Syntakt engine directly ported over that we get to use in Poly. And I think it sounds cool, but there really is just... It happened to be the engine that I used the most digitally on the Syntakt because it was just a huge, like, analog-esque sounding, you know, simple subtractive synthesis sound that was wide. And that oscillator sync sound, they're actually getting it from the comb filter. So it's not even... Let's switch over the filters really quick. Cool. I'm not going to complain that it's here. I'm super stoked it's here. I just started, as soon as I loaded this engine up, I was like, oh, cool. What did they do with the swarm engine? Am I going to get to see the swarm? Do I get to offset the swarm? You know, like, and find, like, I don't know, maybe make one of the oscillators a different shape, or maybe move it further in the stereo field. I was like, this is going to be this huge synth engine. And it's not. But I'm, like I said, I'm grateful that it's here. I hope that they add more to it. I would love to see some more stuff in the swarm engine. But it is cool to have the swarm in polyphony. It is different because we can offset this, we can change the swarm oscillator shapes versus the main oscillator shape. Swarm. Sounds good. I mean, I love it. I'm stoked. I'm stoked on it. All right, let's keep moving on. There's more to look at. There's so much. What's going on for me right now is that I'm going through patches. I'm looking for patches that make sounds that Digitone 1 didn't make. Because there's a massive amount of patches that were available for Digitone 1. So right now I'm searching for anything that sounds extraordinary. And I mean that in the way that it's extraordinary. So it's not like what the ordinary Digitone 1 did. I want to hear sounds that are unique to Digitone 2. So I'm finding those sounds, loading those patches, and taking a look at what did they do. Because that's how you're going to learn. You want to learn how to use Digitone 2? Load up the projects and analyze the projects. Go into the patches, open the patches up, see what they're doing. Check this out. When you load up a project too, if you put a trigger down and we adjust something, say here and here, you can see what you've adjusted. You know, it says we adjusted in the synth page and the trig page. We know what we've done. This is the same on Digitakt II. This is why these two are meant to be paired together. Freaking awesome. These are the super combo. But this is really helpful. So if you want to learn stuff, open up those projects and take a look. What are the kind of trig conditions are they using? Are they microtiming stuff? It'll tell you if it's microtimed. There we go. Now it lets us know. This is a microtimed step, meaning it's moved a little bit off of the grid. So that's really great for learning how to do stuff if you don't have a teacher or you don't like reading the manuals. The manuals are really fun to read. I actually haven't read much of the manual of Digitone 2 because it has been extremely intuitive because I already learned Digitone 1. The features are basically the same. They're just doing different concepts, but the interface is the same. So if you own a Digitakt 2 and you pick up a Digitone 2, you're not going to have trouble understanding what's going on other than you're going to have to learn synthesis. But you don't need to learn synthesis to make cool sounds. You just turn knobs and have fun. Like, that's what this is about. Having a good time. These boxes are fun. They're funner than your computer, to me. So yeah, I'm looking for patches that sound good. Back here. Got some Daft Punk sound. sounds pretty good. Let's go. Let's check this one out. He's using the new analog engine. What do we got? No mods going. We got drift turned up real high. Using the regular synth engine. Noise set to the high end. The level turned all the way down, so I don't know what they're doing there. And let's go to the modulation. Synth master. It's just a bunch of overdrive. I'm like, wow, I really like this patch. There's nothing happening at all. It's the most basic patch we've come across yet. It's literally just overdrive. So, okay, if you want to make sounds like this, turn your overdrive all the way up. Ugh. Anyway, cool, moving on. What's this? The new engine. So I am finding the patches that are the new engine. So this is good. This is a good exercise. This means that they did the right thing. Because every time I load a patch that I'm like, what's this patch? It has been the new WaveTone engine. So I'm not hearing the same sounds. So it isn't the same. I was wrong. They do sound different. This is great. This is really good news to me. This makes me feel a lot better. Not that I was feeling bad. I just, I feel even better. I'm more elated, more excited than I was. That really sounds... Good stereo spread, bouncing my ears really well. Let's see what they did. Amp pan. Random wave with slew? No. Not using any slew, but they're doing trig mode hold. So this is that same thing I was doing with mine, the patch that I showed you at the beginning of the stream where I did a, like kind of the analog patch that I made where it's pluck and then a drone, pluck, then a drone. Same idea. I wanted to have every time I hit a note to get a new spot in the stereo field. If you set the mode to hold, your trig mode hold, and turn up some depth on amp pan, that's how you achieve this goal. Using the random LFO is a good choice. I was using a square because I wanted it to be like this hard panning thing that happened, but this works really well too. And this is just the FM synth. You're still going to get the most complex sounds out of the FM synth engine. You are. You're going to get the richest metallic, not just metallic, but you're going to get the richest, just darker sounds, like the stuff that is closer to wavetable synthesis. You're going to get that from the FM synth engine and not from the new engine. The new engine is going to give you those basic, simpler subtractive synth waveforms and subtractive synth concepts. And it's really just like a basic little monosynth. Like if somebody sold you a little analog monosynth, it would have pretty much the same stuff that we see here. It would have a lot of connections, a lot of patch points, but you're still gonna get the craziest sounds from your classic FM synth engine, which will never get old because it's just a complex waveform generator. Chords of Canada. Wow, that is very nice. Again, the new engine. Let's see what they did. Chorus reverb delay. What's this one? Modulating the... What filter? The multi-mode. Oh, MM, modulating multi-mode. MM, okay. Sounding very nice. Okay. All right, we've looked at a lot of patches. I did my little test to see if I would notice any new sounds, and the test is conclusive. There are brand new sounds in the Digitone II, and they are coming from the new synth engine. That is cool. I like that I actually got to try that out, and it happened. Like, I really got to experience that I have new sounds in Digitone II. Thank the Lord. And now we go on to the coolest thing, which I haven't fully learned how to use, so forgive me, I can't explain it to you in some super deep details. But let's check out the new FM drum. This you should be excited about. Right off the bat, it's the FM synth engine again. So it's like, this is so funny. They sound identical, you know? This one doesn't, but anyway, it's the same. So it's the same idea. It's FM, of course. So again, you're starting off with your operators, but this is all about envelope generators, right? So we get our sweep going, sweep depth. I love the wavefold, and I love the... This is sick. So, you know what? I think this might be the engine. Can you do poly? Oh my god, you can do poly. This might be the engine for getting those really cool analog sounds. We got a wavefolder. This is great. This is cool. Oh, why even make drums here? You can just make bass patches all day. What? That's crazy. Okay, wait a second. Let's make this a mono legato. Arpeggiator. Whoops. I don't know. Sorry, that was just like... Ooh, yeah. Techno. Wait, we don't go there yet. Oh, so many pages. Cool, let's clear this engine out, start from scratch. Okay. Arpeggiator, get out of here. Okay, going back here. Not too much overdrive. We gotta use these envelopes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? How do the... Oh, got it. So we can build a transient here. But I think there's another spot to build a transient. That sounds good. Starting to build a kick drum. So adding a little bit of harmonic body to it. This is great. You know why this is great? Because I could sit here and tweak this forever to build the perfect kick drum. This has the tools, and I'm not even through all the pages yet. We gotta make it bigger. Okay, here's our hold. Body hold. Operator C phase, which is our carrier. Free. And then an envelope on the body decay. We have a noise reset. We haven't even used our noise yet. Let's get to the noise. Oh, ring mod. That's cool. Even though we can't hear it yet. Transient. Ugh. This is a good engine. This is going to make it hard for me to not use the Digitone II as also a drum synth. I really liked the idea of keeping all my drums on the Digitakt and all my voices on the Syntakt. But I feel like I'm kind of just like screwed in that regard because this is cool. This is sound designer dream. This is very good. This is transient shaper. Are those PCMs? Did they just put a bunch of PCMs in here? Oh, there we go. I guess we don't need that. Be better for a hi-hat. Or for a snare, maybe. You really never know what you're going to get when you change the algorithms around. It's like, who has that memorized? Nobody. Nobody does. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What notes are those? I think we just changed the pitch. There we go. Whoops. All right, let's play with something. Live record, function yes. See what happens when we can start messing with stuff. It actually sounds like it's getting a little brush snare in there. Who's getting cold for Christmas? So this is just this many kicks, and we kind of sounds like we have something. And I just was designing a kick and playing with live recording, and this is how the Elektron stuff should be used. Learn the parameters, go into live record mode, and start twisting knobs. Function yes to save it in its current state so you don't screw it up and you go back to where you were. And just hope that you land on a really cool thing. We made this kick drum from scratch. It wasn't hard. It was a good and enjoyable experience. I've been taken from very excited about Digitone II coming out just to have more voices and to have new synth engines to being, oh my God, this is a substantial update and I am officially bananas. This engine is the best engine to me, besides the actual FM engine, but this is cool. This is just another version of the FM engine, but the way it's laid out and the way that the workflow is on this engine is really cool. Like the drums you can get, I already know just from tweaking with the transient selection, the little, sounds like PCMs to me, PCM selection, that there is no end to the drums you're going to get. This is impressive. I'm excited about this. I think this is a complete groovebox now. This really could, you can make full tracks on this. Just throw some vocals on top of it in your computer and bam, you know, or on your Digitakt II, which is what this is meant to be paired with. But damn, this is good. I mean, this patch is simple. Like we haven't gone into like some extraordinary territory or anything, but like you watched me do this. This doesn't sound like a Digitone at all. These drums don't sound, this doesn't sound like an FM synthesizer. And that's because of this transient. Like that's a sample. Even another FM drum. Let's go with this. Actually, let's turn that off. Not even using it for drums. These sound freaking awesome. Let's get like a... sorts of weird cool stuff here. And off, change the time of the triggers. Is it muted or something? Oops. Wait, what? Oh, I'm page looped. Oh my god, I was like, what is going on? This is all Digitone II. There's no Digitakt happening at all. And we made all these sounds ourselves. This is no presets. This is me playing on the Digitone II. That first patch is my patch that I made that I showed you at the beginning of the stream. But I do want to use patches that are already in here, like a hi-hat patch. Let's see what's going on with that. Turn the compressor on. Beautiful. Do we have anything happening here? No. Let's keep it like this. Oops. Clear the filter. So let's check out some snares. Yeah. Hey, what the heck? Yes. What do we got going on? Right now we're at 6 tracks already, and we already sound more like it's more robust than Digitone 1 because we're using 6 tracks. And I have like dual drum sounds on a single track. Like our kick track has also got some sounds that sound like snares. Yeah, I would say I am actually quite impressed. I am very pleased with Digitone 2. And my initial experience with it, while being a little hampered by my emotional presence at the time when I got my hands on it, I was definitely like not in the best mood at the time. But I'm really glad that I've dug into it today because it's sounding pretty amazing. And big fan. I think this is my new favorite engine is the FM drum. The FM drum is just good. This is the coolest thing. This is awesome. You could just play with the Digitone 2 now and you don't need anything else. I mean, you do want to have some other sounds. Like if I had a vocal sample in here, it would be really nice to have layered on top of this, but man, this is cool. This is cool. I'm impressed. And I started off with plenty of complaining in here, so you know I'm being honest. That wasn't my goal, but yeah. And like, of course, we're just doing something extremely basic. Let me go over, where's my kick? This is a really great menu now. What else is really cool that we haven't talked about yet is the ability to modulate the entire track or transpose the entire track, this whole track, and transpose it up. Oh, that's just the track. Let's bring that back down. Let's do the whole pattern. love this pattern transpose. Take it down. Whoa. What? That is so cool. I'm loving this. God, it sounds good with it transposed down. That was a move. Now that became a bass synth now. That sounds good. Cool. New pattern. Okay, let's see. Now let's try something else. Let's change. Let's go up to like 170. Okay, track 1. Now let's not do a bunch of crafting sounds from scratch. Let's just play with the presets and see what we can come up with. So I'm going to start with getting snare. Oh, right? Wait, no. I want that to be on track 2. This is going to be a kick drum, and we're going to do for track scaling 128 steps. We'll leave that at 16 for now. Let's put some kicks in. Let's go over here. Filter, clear, kick. That's cool. For whatever reason, this didn't become my snare, which sucks. I don't know why that happened. first step arpeggiation. Damn it. Wait a second. Maybe we'll just go back to the arpeggiator and just get rid of this whole thing. Can I just clear this out? Can I hold it and press clear? No. Okay, whatever. You know, another cool feature that I liked was when you hit the note button, it just takes you into step edit mode immediately. So it's like step edit. Put a note. We're gonna go in here. We're gonna do step editor. Cool. Thinks ahead. I love that kind of stuff. That's workflow improvement stuff that like speeds up what you're doing. We're not gonna use this sound. This sounds not right. What track are we on? Why does that sound so whack? Hold on a sec. This is where a page loop would be really good. So this one sounds nuts. So let's just loop it. You know what it is? It's the patch. I think there's modulation that's moving it, so there's points in the patch where it's not making, where the transient isn't starting right away, so it sounds micro-timed. It sounds weird. All right, we're moving to a different one. I did like how it sounded, though. classic Digitone II sounds. Digitone sounds here. Wow. I just discovered that when you're in page loop and you clear the pattern, it only clears the page. That's new. Is that wrong? That seems like what it just did. That's interesting. So that's kind of a nice guardrail for you, I guess. This patch sounds really nice. This sounds like Digitone. And of course, it's got the classic Digitone synth engine. This is the bread and butter of Digitone right here. Super loud. We no longer have our chord mode. So the little box missing. We can't do chords anymore. Whatever. We don't need them because we have this cool note edit thing. But maybe they'll add that back. Seems like they like to have some features not included, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna add this feature today." You're like, "Oh, okay. We already had it. You took it away. Give it back." That's actually be a pretty good sound to have in there. Still got our keyboard. Wow. There's so much to do on here. This is pretty insane. Okay. Well, looks like I have a lot to learn still. Which is awesome. My God, that's what I really wanted to be like. I'm kind of I'm being a little emotional. I feel very emotional lately. Um, extra, very extra about everything. This made me feel I'm having an emotional response to this experience because I was so desperate for something new to learn. I've gotten a couple of boxes in my life recently where I got Digitone II here. We got M8 tracker on the side here. We got the Octatrack, which is just endless, right? There's always new things come up with on the Octatrack. It's just like a DAW in a box. But I got the Deluge over here, and it's got so many new features, and I've been so excited to learn it, and I've learned a lot of it so far. There's a lot more to learn. It's much harder to learn because it's a different workflow with lots of buttons. This is so easy to learn, and it has a depth to it that's got me excited. I'm excited again about something from Elektron, because I wasn't ecstatic about the Syntakt 1.3 update. I was like, this is cool. Thank you for updating it and adding this stuff. I wanted digital engines. I didn't need more analog engines. We need more digital engines on the Syntakt. Like unique stuff. Give us physical modeling. Big time. Give us physical modeling on here. In fact, we haven't checked out the string synthesis. Oh my God. What an omission. Let's check that out. Let's go here. And I'll just go to a brand new pattern for this. And let's change this to, I guess it doesn't even matter. We could have it be the drum and just go into the noise section and just turn up some, turn up some noise. What the heck? Take me to the drum. Thank you. Oh, I can't turn that down? I can't turn this off in here. I didn't realize that. Okay, we don't want to use that one. I guess we'll go to WAVETONE, because it should just be able to do noise. Okay, yeah, this is where it's at. Turn these off. Okay, now we go to our filter section. We get a comb filter, and turn it up. Oh wait, I'm missing something. Oh, I gotta turn on key tracking, of course. Or else will I be able to tune the filter? Just leave that up. Oh my god, this is gonna be cool as shit. Hmm? Oh wait, if I push down, it only snaps to my scale. Yeah. Right? Is that not turned on? Oh, it's going chromatic. If I just do it, it does snaps to scale. C, D, D. Do I have to turn that on? No parameter scale. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now it's going to scale only, but if I push down, it goes chromatic. So this is a really cool workflow. I know it's probably hard to see. I switched over to this view because the Octatrack does some really cool things, but let's go back. So this is a really cool feature for the Digitone. This is a great feature on both the boxes, but it's a really cool feature in the Digitone is that if you go into your personalized menu and set note parameter to scale, when you choose a note, you only have your scale. So you can kind of just go like that. It's gonna work. Like you can't screw it up. If you push down, it goes into your accidentals, which are notes that are outside of your key. These are sounds you definitely could not get from Digitone 1. Now we can transpose this. We're locking all of those movements into the sequencer. Some stereo spread. Let's slow this down, half speed. copy this pattern. Let's go here and paste it. Whoa! Let's get those notes too. And copy the track preset. We need to copy the track preset, otherwise we won't get that same sound. Now let's transpose this. It sounds disgusting. I love it. want B level. Hey. Hey, get out of the scale mode because it sucks. Get out of here. And keyboard fold. This is pretty sick. Okay, let's go to setup and let's get this off poly because it's useless. Maybe not mono legato. Maybe we just do mono. Oh my god. This patch is sick. This is sick. Basic has a yellow screened DN2. Yeah, you can get this. I mean, I talked to Elektron about doing that for my Digitakt II at one point, but now they're all white screens, so now I don't want to do it. Yeah, let's save this patch. This is a good patch. Okay, we hit this button. It's so easy. Save patch. I want to go to new bank. So I go function over. No, like I know how to get there going this way, but there's got to be another way. Trigs 1 through 16. Okay, these are easy patches. We'll call this base, I don't know. We'll call it base. Easy. Deep. Mine. Right. Where's the base? Base. Save. Another omission. Oh, so we gotta save that into the patch. Yeah. This is how you start a song. You write like a cool patch like this, and then you just, I can hear a rhythm to it. is hard. Oh my god. Oh man. The two-handed though, playing the synth and the drums at the same time, that is tough. Let's just program it. Oh, we're in song mode. Stupid. Metronome. Playing justice speeds here. We could do some sidechain on the top of this too. Maybe we turn this one off for now. One, two, three, four. Nah, that's not gonna work. I was playing it in my head at a different tempo. I liked it. I like it though. Oh wait, where's that? This is what justice would do. Now we can throw some sidechain on there. exponential envelope, and we'll just invert it and set that to amp. Volume. Trig mode, LFO trig on, turn it off. Turn it on here. So it's okay, so we put it on here too. So we put it on the 1 and the 1, 1 and the 1, 1 and the 1, 1 and the 1. Whoops. Fuck. Wait. The 1, the 1 and the 1, 1, 1, 1, and the 1. Did I screw that up somehow? No. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Take me to the bank. So what I did is I put some envelopes in so that I could duck the kick on this crazy ass bass.
There's just so much to play with.
freaking sick. What? What? What was that? Digitone II. That was Digitone II. Oh my god. That is amazing. What? Alright. Get a Digitone II. If you don't have a Digitone II and you want to get a Digitone II, use the affiliate link in my YouTube description. It pays me handsomely. Quite very, very well. And at no extra cost to you. So if you're buying one anyway, you might as well. You know? I gotta buy my LaCroix. I need the LaCroix. Sponsor me. Wow. All right, one more little, oops, that's the M8 tracker. I'm not doing that right now. One more little test. We gotta throw, I need to see what it sounds like to put in like a hi-hat on top of this. What am I doing? All right, everybody, my name is Matthew, aka EZBOT. This is the Digitone II. It's pretty sick, as you can see. I think we explored it quite deeply during this 2-hour and 40-minute live stream. Yeah, we went in knowing very little. Well, I mean, we knew what the Digitone II was, and we have experience with Digitone 1, but we went in kind of fresh, I think, and I think by the end of this, we had something pretty freaking cool. We made a couple different styles of tracks. We had a little bit of drum bass. We have this kind of like industrial glitch thing we got going on right now. We did something a little pretty. We played with the comb synthesis, played with the drum. I think we covered pretty much every feature in here. And I went in a little unimpressed. I think that was kind of the vibe that I was giving off. And I apologize for that because I am thoroughly impressed. I'm very into this. This is incredibly sick. And doing all this without the Digitone II, it's just badass. So thank you everybody for hanging out. My name's Matthew. If you want to support this channel, you can visit patreon.com/EZBOT, which is where you can get your hands on this cool performance template. It's called the Hyper Effects template. I just released it the other day. I'm constantly updating it. It's totally worth checking out if you have an Octatrack. Lets you do what I'm doing right here, which is take this cool pattern and then just make it totally insane. That's the Hyper Effects template. You can find that at patreon.com/EZBOT or ko-fi.com/EZBOT. That's ko-fi.com. If you want to pick up the template, highly recommend it. Really fun. Yeah, so going forward on the table, you're looking at it, this is what it's going to be. Octatrack Mark II, Digitakt Mark II, or Digitakt II, and Digitone II. This is the shit. This is the ultimate setup. This is what you want. I'm pretty sure about it. This is the new live show scenario. Totally badass. With the Diggy workflow, with amazing new sounds, and it just took me a while to get my bearings again. So really forgive me for if I had any negative energy at all, which I really don't think I did. I was just being spoiled. But big fan. Highly recommend it. Thank you everybody for hanging out. There's a bunch of shows coming up. There's a Modbang show tonight. Let me pull it up for y'all. If you're in Seattle, you should come and check this out. One of the shows already passed, the one on the left, the Sad Boys Kid Camaro. That show's over. There's a new show coming up next month in Portland. But tonight at the 4Bs at 7 p.m., there's a live hardware electronic music show that we put on every month. It's always live hardware. It's always super dope. It's a wonderful time. You should check it out. That was just a little celebration sound for you. So, yeah, support the channel. Leave a nice comment. Give it some likes. Whatever you want to do. Don't be a jerk. Don't leave me a bunch of weird comments or ask me for general instructions on the Digitone II that takes up 10 paragraphs because it's just too long to read. But if you want to ask me questions about this kind of stuff, you want to get involved in it, join the Discord. That's going to be a link for that in the description of the comment section below. Or visit patreon.com/EZBOT and me and you can chat about this stuff all day long with a bunch of other people. So everybody have a great time. Pick up Digitone IIs. Pretty sick. I'm excited about it. And I'll see y'all soon.